So I'm afraid there was some bad news. I was not able to officially live stream the show for All Out. We were experiencing some Wi-Fi issues, and it was not able to happen. Um, the show cut out around the triple threat part of the match between Konosuke Takeshita, Kazuchika Okada, and Mascara Dorada, which was an absolute incredible match. Um, I only got to bear witness to what happened on the show, so I will go through my thoughts on what I thought. We had Adam Copeland and Christian Cage against FTR, which started the show. I was not expecting that to start the show. I thought was a pretty fun match. I could understand how some people thought that it was a little bit disappointing. I think that people were expecting a more physical match, and that is where this comes into play. We saw Beth Phoenix, aka Beth Copeland, come out and spear Stokely. Stokely got involved and pulled the referee out. Beth came out and speared him, took him to the back, and then Cage and Cope won the match. And afterward, Beth was there. Nick Wayne came out. Kip Sabian was there. He assaulted. It was either Adam Copeland or Christian Cage. Then FTR went on the attack, and so then it became a 3-on-2 attack. And what I didn't like, but I guess I can kind of understand in the heat of the moment, was the fact that FTR were beating up Christian Cage. Adam Copeland is handcuffed at this point, and Beth Phoenix is just standing there watching. She's not going to help. But then again, Beth is, someone who's like, fuck Christian Cage. He's an asshole. Why would I help that guy? So she's standing by her man. And Copeland, as soon as FTR is there, he's telling her, you need to leave. You got to get out. She kisses him and says, I love you. And I thought that she was just going to abandon him. Nope. She starts beating the shit out of FTR. And then they're like, are you serious right now? They hit the pile driver on her. Copeland, who again is handcuffed, sees his best friend and wife down and out. The next match was Eddie Kingston and Big Bill. Oh, hang on, let me get back to what I was trying to say. The match, some people can say that it didn't live up to the expectations. And that's because I believe this is not the end, of course. I think there's going to be more, and I think that it's going to get more physical because this rivalry just escalated to another level to build for a more personal note. Again, don't tell me AEW doesn't do stories. We saw Eddie Kingston against Big Bill, and Eddie got a good pop right there. Eddie was looking pretty damn good, and Eddie Kingston, I was actually expecting him to bring out the Santa Claus beard. Eddie Kingston was kind of growing out his beard and getting gray hairs, but he came out looking like the old Eddie Kingston, like nothing had changed. Big Bill was in control for a lot of the match. It was the classic, heel babyface match. The heel beats up the face, poses, gets some of that heel heat, and then the babyface makes the comeback in the end. But Eddie was looking pretty good. Hit, a couple of exploders, I believe, and then, machine gun chops. And one of my predictions did not come true. I had said that I think that Hook was going to join the Death Riders tonight. And that didn't happen because after the matchup, Brian Keith attacked Eddie Kingston, and then the Hook symbol came up. Hook came out, helped Eddie win, or helped Eddie out at the end. Sorry about that. And I kind of brought this up in my live stream, but for those of you, I'm going to do a cheap plug for myself. For those of you who watch my AEW Universe mode, um, Eddie Kingston actually was a mentor to a wrestler that I created called Danny Steele. And I just found it interesting that Eddie Kingston and Hook, now to get potentially together here, could be a mentor and student thing. You know, Hook's had a couple of tag team partners before with Danhausen and Jungle Boy, who we'll talk about in a second. Um, you know, I was, thinking to myself, I was like, yo, that's pretty cool right there. But anyways, we get to the next match, which I believe was the triple threat match between Takeshita, Okada, and Mascara Dorada, which, oh my god, AEW just knows how to do multi-man matches very well. I'm not going to do different clips. I'm gathering my iPad here so that way I can look up the match card. That way I don't lose track of any of the matches, because while I may not have been able to do the show, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we get the full the full reactions. Let's see. I'm trying to. Actually, I think what might have been next was the. There we go. This will be good. I'm trying to find the sports. I'm trying to find the match card and everything. So that everything that went down. Getting caught up. Yeah, so the next match was Mark Briscoe and MJF, and oh my god, this match was brutal. But I said I said that that Briscoe needed to win the match. While we love MJF, the ending of this rivalry needed to be
now connected to Lucas's iPhone, too.
Yes.
Abs caller. Yeah, this guy was
what
one
the
of the
hell?
best to ever touch down here. Maybe the best. Dude, are you kidding?
I said I wasn't gonna do different clips, but something was going off on my Echo. You son of a bitch. But the match was freaking brutal. But as I was saying, is that what really needed to happen was at the very end is that Mark Briscoe needed to win, because this needed the victory from the good guy. This was a fun match though between the two of them. It was brutal, and what a great debut for a tables and tax match. Next up was Ricochet against the Gates of Agony. I was expecting the Hurt Syndicate to actually pull away with a victory here, but I mean, the Gates of Agony, or the Demand, I think they're calling themselves now, was actually, they did very well for themselves. I was actually kind of making a prediction inside my head where I thought that MVP was going to lose the match for the Hurt Syndicate because he was going to make a blind tag, but no, it was, and I thought that might cause dissension in the Hurt Syndicate or something like that, but no, it was just, the Demand just got the better hand. They just were above there, so they did very well for that one. The next match was the TBS Championship match. Man, I got through quite a bit on the stream before it crashed, but that's okay. I digress. The TBS matchup between Mercedes and Riho. I thought that Riho was actually going to win. I really actually predicted that Riho was going to win, and she was looking great in the match. I'm going to say this here. Riho sometimes, to me, can be a little... She can move, she misses a couple of spots sometimes when she's in the ring. But Riho was on point in this matchup. She was doing a great job. And the match, I just remember ending so abruptly. Riho was going for perhaps her crucifix bomb. I can't remember what move. And then Mercedes countered, holding onto the referee's pocket. And then once, Riho had to let go, Mercedes clawed her eye and then hit the Monet Maker. And won the match. Which to me, then I was thinking to myself, my God, who the hell is going to be able to defeat Mercedes? It's like she's run through everybody. Who's left? I mean, go back to Tony, maybe Tony Storm. I don't know. But anyways, we're going to go to the next match here, which was, now we're at the triple threat match between Mascara Dorada, Kazuchika Okada, and Konosuke Takeshita. This is a match that you should show any professional wrestling fan, in my personal opinion. If Mascara Dorada was not signed by CMLL, I would be demanding that Tony Khan call this guy to be signed. Mascara is someone who is fucking incredible inside the ring. I don't think I've ever witnessed him having a bad match. He is amazing. Not to take anything away from Konosuke Takeshita or Okada, but Dorada showed up tonight and was just absolutely incredible. There are times when I'm doing my live stream and he's doing something, I'm like, I don't even have the words to say anymore. Okada won the match. It was really helpful because of, and it wasn't even like this. I thought that Okada was just going to steal the victory from Takeshita. He did, but also didn't, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Takeshita hit the Fire Thunder Driver or Falcon Arrow, and afterward, Okada picked up Takeshita. He didn't throw him out. He was trying for Rainmaker. Takeshita ducked it, was building up a head of steam. Okada caught him with a drop kick, and then Okada covered Mascara Dorada for that. It was a great one there because Okada didn't just steal the victory. He made sure that, yeah, I got the last laugh on Takeshita and won the match. Actually, no. I think what happened too was the fact that I think Okada actually hit the Rainmaker on Dorada. Yeah, he did. That's what it was. Hit the Rainmaker. So I made sure that I got the last move there. So before I did all that, this matchup, oh my God, Darby Allin and Jon Moxley. You knew that this was going to be spicy. I'll just say that one. It was going to be spicy. These guys were going all out deathmatch wrestling, using the fork, using something in the ear right there. The ear was a big point there for Darby. They used the plastic bag. I mean, basically, Darby Allin gave full-on retribution to Moxley. Darby did not win the match because from out of nowhere, Pac came back. There was Pac who, short hair, short beard. I was like, who the fuck is that? And then they said, that's Pac. I was like, that's Pac? No fucking way. I was like, Jesus. But then you look at the face, it was. And Pac, only Darby Allin could take the spot. Pac hit a crucifix toss outside the ring to Darby Allin onto a casket. And then brought Darby Allin in and put him inside of a body bag and then put him in the casket. But what I loved about this, Pac didn't close the casket because I would have had problems with that. I was like, you can't end the match that way because Pac's not legal. He's not, in this match. Darby kicked the casket, not Darby, Moxley kicked the casket closed. Later on in the show, we saw the Death Riders leave with Pac in the truck. Moxley was left alone with the casket. that had Darby Allin in it, and God damn it, Moxley's like, I want to ward alone with him. And by the time Moxley opened the casket, Darby still had a freaking lead pipe, smashed Mox over the head with it, grabbed the body bag he was in, and started putting Moxley in it. And he lit the body bag on fire with Moxley in it. Moxley, his head was covered, or his head was open from there, and they immediately start putting out the flames on Moxley as Moxley is like, being dragged away by security. He's like, burn, burn. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, dude. And Brian, it was either Brian or Taz brought up a good point. It's like, when things escalate like this, just like, this just gets even further and further. And yeah, it did. After that, we got confirmation that Wednesday night, Orange Cassidy will be back to face the Don Callis family. This match, the Fatal 4-Way Women's match for the AEW Women's World Championship, was pretty damn good too. Tekla was on point in this match. It really showed out. But in this matchup, my prediction came true. Chris Statlander did win the AEW Women's World Champion, which I'm so happy for. And I didn't even know how to feel at first, because I was like, whoa. I knew that I wanted Statlander to win, but it just took me by surprise that they did it. And the way, though, that Statlander won, she didn't win with the help of the Death Riders, but what she did do was utilize the seatbelt, that pinfall that Wheeler Yuta uses. So, I don't know what's going on. If that's, to me, that's just another way that they're doing a slow build for Statlander to maybe join the Death Riders. Harley Cameron came out to celebrate with her afterward. And I was actually waiting for Statlander to pull a Kevin Owens and throw Statlander down to the ramp and, join alongside Yuta, but that didn't happen. But, they brought up the idea that, Willow Nightingale told Harley Cameron, you got to be careful about Statlander there. And I was like, I don't know, something about me just tells me that that's what's going to happen, is that, she's going to be like, you should have trusted Willow. She was my first friend at AEW, and I turned my back on her. What makes you think you're special? Or something like that there. But all that matters is that Statlander is the AEW Women's World Champion. What does this mean for Timeless Tony Storm? Personally, I think we could see Tony go after the TBS champion. That could be something. Tony was like in absolute shock. Maybe we get a rematch where it's just one-on-one. Because I remember looking at the face of Tony, she was just like stunned, as the rest of us were, about that. Then we come to this absolutely chaotic Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Ladder match. I mean, there's nothing more I can say. It's the usual classic tag team ladder match that you expect from AEW. Bodies flying everywhere, tables go crashing, ladders go crashing, bodies go flashing and crashing. I can't tell you everything. It was pretty damn good. Brodito retained the tag team titles, which I was actually very excited for. Afterward, though, is the story. Jack Perry returned, and on BTE, I remember that the Bucks got a call from Jack Perry, and they said, oh, now this guy wants to call us, and they hung up on him. And I was like, well, that's not nice. And I was like, I want a reunion. Oh, we got a reunion, all right. What happened? Jack takes down the Bucks. I have no idea what the point of Rocky Romero was doing there for, but Jack took him down, and then they were about to deliver the BTE trigger. The Bucks were. They got Jack down, and he just smiled at them. And I don't know who did it, but I remember someone saying, I think that the person who revived Luchasaurus was Jack Perry. And I was like, oh my God, that's a great prediction. It turned out to be true. And listen, even though if that was predictable, guess what? That means predictability is not bad. It's fun. It was a good prediction right there. Luchasaurus was there to help out Jack Perry, and they hugged, and not only did they hug, they played Tarzan Boy. And it was, I don't know if I want to see Jack Perry go back to being labeled Jungle Boy. I don't think we need these guys to be Jurassic Express again. You could, but I think that they've both grown as their own individuals. They've come together. That I don't think we need Jurassic Express. But just checking the battery life of my phone. But it was so fun to just be back here. Like, it's nostalgia, yes, but these guys are young and they have the nostalgia that you can come back to and not be looked at as like, oh, that's the old guys. No, these are the young guys. It's just fun to see the classic AEW back as well too. And there was a point when the fans were doing the wave that Jack even did it a little bit too there. He was still doing his whole arm stretched out like, we have to sacrifice thing. But it was just so fun to see Jack and Luchasaurus back together. We come to the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. This match was absolutely incredible. Now, I want people to understand this. We all knew, I think a majority of us knew, that Hangman Adam Page was always going to win this match. However, I think that what we needed to see was that we know that Kyle Fletcher is the future of AEW. And you could have put this match on AEW television, and it would have been just as good. However, with AEW television, there comes the potential possibility of interferences or, commercial breaks. And then, of course, the match can't go as long because of other things you got to get through on the show. Pay-per-view here, you've got time to dictate the pacing and really show the control that Kyle Fletcher can be in. Because Fletcher had control for a lot of this match. He was just looking really fucking good. And that's the point of this matchup, was to show exactly that Kyle Fletcher is someone that they are investing in, and he is the future to invest into, to pay attention to this guy. If you're not paying attention now, you need to be. You need to understand that we're not just relying on the Kenny Omegas. We're not just relying on Hangman, Swerve, Ospreay, Moxley. We're building up new stars as well here too. And I know that it seems like I'm just glazing AEW, but you have to understand that that is what they're doing. They are building new stars here for you to pay attention to watch. And Kyle Fletcher was just amazing. And I will tell you this, I want Bryan Danielson to fill that Jim Ross spot. Bryan Danielson, to me, on commentary, is just a fan. He provides me with such entertainment of just being a wrestling fan there. There's a moment where Kyle Fletcher hit one of the brainbusters, Hangman kicks out, and Bryan and Don Callis are both on their feet. Like, they're friends watching watching the wrestling show. They're like, I can't believe he kicked out. Are you shitting me? And Don's like, I can't believe it either. They just looked like they were having fun out there. And I loved it. I loved that. And the fans, even at the one point, were doing the yes chant because they loved seeing Bryan up off the chair. So that to me is just, I want Bryan Danielson to have more of those commentary matches. As much as I will miss Bryan in the ring, I hope he can find some joy in being a commentator because he's really freaking good at it. Let me check the camera. Alright. Let me get this on the charger for a moment. Goodbye to the lighting. But Hangman Page won. He won the match, and I was expecting something else to happen after the show. But, I say this, I think that the best things, some of the best moments in AEW is when you don't have, the lights go out. You don't have a special moment of of a surprise return or a debut. It's just wrestling. It's just wrestling, man. So we got confirmation about a trios match coming up with the conglomeration against the Don Callis family, and Orange Cassidy has not been officially announced, but Mark Briscoe talked to Kyle O'Reilly in the back, and he's like, Kyle, is he ready? And Kyle says, whatever. So, I mean, that's obviously Cassidy. It is said that Tony Khan is going to have a special announcement. Don't laugh. We haven't had Tony Khan making those special announcements in quite some time. I am curious about what it's going to be, though. So that's pretty much. I may have missed something else that's going to happen on Dynamite, but that does it for the All Out review here. So I think I would give the show I think I'd go for a 9 out of 10. I think I would go for a 9 out of 10 for the show, in my personal opinion. 8.5 or 9. One of those two. But definitely was a fun show. Yeah, so that does it for that. Again, I apologize we weren't able to stream it. We're having issues in the Wi-Fi, and we just lost it around like a 2-hour mark, and I was like, okay, fuck this. So, anyways, thank you all for watching. If you feel the video deserves it, hit that like button down below, of course. Ring the bell. Well, first you gotta subscribe, then you get to ring the bell to get notified when we go live for all the videos that we do. And you can get notified for all the videos that I may upload there too. Alright, and then feel free if you guys want to leave any comments about how you thought the show was. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the next round.